Well, we're live. How are we going, everyone? Atel Boral, thank you very much for joining us again. And yes, I've been following you on Twitter. And yes, I'm not doing the 5-minute vlogs at the moment. They're all 1-minute vlogs. That's because short and sharp is a little bit better. But if you want me to do those longer vlogs, we might try and get them done in the next couple of weeks. But I want to do more lives. I really love the lives. And yes, rain around India versus Pakistan on the 23rd. Can we go to Dockland Stadium? I don't think so. I don't think they've got a drop-in wicket there at the moment, and it'll be too hard to roll it up and get a decent wicket for a good quality game like that. But anyway, let's get into my talking points. Roll bumper, please, Shubs. Well, how are we going? Who will win the World Cup this year? I think England have got the best balanced team. They've got depth in their batting with their all-rounders, and also they've got some good quality swing bowlers up front in the power play. That's Willie and Sam Curran, who can take wickets, but also with Mills coming in to replace Topley, that gives better depth in their death bowling as well. So that strengthens them up. That's why I've got England to win this T20 World Cup. But other teams could upset that particular dynamic. Next talking point, please, Shubs. Okay. Jatin, thanks very much for joining me. A power play bowling. It's going to be left arm quicks that are going to be the key in the power play, swinging the ball back into the left-handers, the likes of Asdeep Singh, Shaheen Afridi, Mitchell Stark, as well as the two England bowlers that I've mentioned will be keys. And even for Afghanistan, Faruqi will be key as well, just to set it up for the spinners in those middle overs. So left arm swing bowling is the key in the power play phase. Now, next talking point, please. Shubs, can we get that up? The use of spin. We don't want to have too much use of spin in those power play overs. We want to be able to get the spin in the middle overs because you've got bigger boundaries here in Australia, and it's going to be harder for the batsmen to find those big sixes here rather than the other grounds that we see around the world. So the use of spin is in the middle overs, but you've got to have more overspin rather than undercutting the ball. So I'll bring that more overspin rather than undercutting the ball. You can undercut the ball if you're bowling in the power play where it skids on, goes straight with the batsman expecting it to turn, but that extra skid just hurries on the batsman, and that's how left-arm spinners get their wickets in the power play. But use the spin in the middle overs, and make sure you've got a good quality quick every now and then just to change the pace up in those middle overs to help those spinners be more effective. Next talking point, please, Shubs. Well, this is good. We've got it out of the way very quickly. My player of the tournament will be Surya Kumar Yadav from India. I just like his versatility, the way that he's able to ramp the ball, but also play off the back foot, both sides of the wicket. But he also looks to hit straight. He is the best depth batter to utilise all the conditions here in Australia with the wide boundary square, short boundary straight in most venues, but then you can change to the likes of Adelaide or Hobart where you've got short boundary square, long boundary straight. Surya Kumar Yadav is the batsman that I think will be able to adapt to all those different venues that we've got here in Australia, plus the different wickets we've got out in the middle. And when I'm going to talk about fast bowlers, I think Shaheen Afridi from Pakistan is going to be the pick of the bowlers. He is bowling with absolute pace at the moment. He's getting the ball to swing, and he's going to be vital for Pakistan in the power play as well as the death overs. So those two are my players of the tournament. Righty-o, Shubs, let's get on to the questions straight away, unless we've got another talking point. Are you going to throw up another talking point, Shubs, or are you going to throw up a question? Shubs is the guy behind the scenes. Rowan Yoli, good to see you again. Atel Baral, your good friend Akash Chopra has picked your nephew Mitch Marsh as one of the potential contenders for player of the tournament in this T20 World Cup. What's your verdict? Akash Chopra, yes, he is very good with his predictions. The only thing with Mitchell Marsh, I would have him up there as player of the tournament only if he could utilise his presence with the ball as well and pick up those vital wickets as as an all-rounder. Teams need those all-rounders. Mitchell Marsh, great at number 3, yes, but we also need him with the ball as well to bowl some quality overs when other bowlers aren't doing the job. So for me, if he's going to be player of the tournament, we've got to see him bowl a lot more in this tournament. Yes, I know that he's a West Australian. I should be a little bit more or not as hard on him as that. But I do agree with Akash Chopra there. Good question there, Atal Baral. Next question, Rowan Yeoli, Indian fan. No doubt about that. Hi, Hoggy. What is your ideal 11 for India against Pakistan and South Africa? And how do you see Ashwin's role as a T20 bowler in Australia? Well, Ashwin, as I was talking about up the front with spin, getting that over spin. And I know that he's worked on that, going to play county cricket over in England, as well as preparing here for Australia. He's been really working on that ball. When you've got the overspin plus his extra height, batsman trying to sweep him, it's going to be difficult to control because of the extra bounce he's going to get with that overspin, but also hitting down the ground, that overspin will hit higher up on the bat. So that's how Ashwin's going to be effective here. His role will be bowling in those middle overs every now and then with his undercut deliveries. If there's a left-handed batsman in the power play, he might be able to come in and be utilised with those undercutting deliveries with a newish ball in the power play overs where he would be effective getting those LBWs and bolds. Pakistan versus South Africa, I think Rahul Rawat, Virat Kohli, Surya Kumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya. I think you're going to have Karthik coming in at number 6, and then you'd go with 2 spinners, Patel, Ashwin, Bhuvneshwar, Arshdeep Singh, and I think you're going to have to go with Shami. Actually, I might even go with Harsha Patel. No, you'll have to go with Shami with a bit of extra pace, just to add a little bit of variety in your bowling attack. That I would go with in your starting 11 against Pakistan and South Africa. I may think about going with who am I talking about here? Absolutely love him. Shubs, can you get on stage and help me here? Pant, left-handed bat against the spin of Shadab Khan and the left arm off spinner from Pakistan, Nizwan. I'd think about playing Pant against Pakistan, but I'd go with Karthik for the rest of the games because Karthik in those final 4 overs is dynamite with his ramp shots. He'll help Hardik Pandya out the other end with his batting. That's my lineup for India. Pant maybe against Pakistan because of the spin in the middle, but I'd still go with Karthik. The outcast. What do you think of Namibia playing Zane Green as a specialist wicketkeeper to bat at number 8 or 9? Well, with the associate teams, you might not have depth in keepers, and you do need a quality keeper in T20 cricket because if you've got a lot of extras going past, it's just going to affect the bowlers. It's going to add more pressure on the bowlers. So you do need a specialist wicket keeper. If they don't have a keeper that can bat higher up the ladder, and they're utilising more batting all-rounders that bowl a bit, well, sometimes you've got to put the keeper down the bottom just for the balance of your team. So for me, I don't mind it for a team like Namibia, but if it's a frontline test team, your keeper's got to be batting in the top 3 at least, or he's got to be top 3, or he's got to be a punishing batsman out the back end like a Wade, Pant, or a Karthik. So he's got to have a front line batting role. If you're a test-playing nation. Good observation there, the outcast. I really like that. Sports Talk Gully, how are you going? Which players to looking forward to this tournament? I've also already said Shaheen Afridi. I've just come off another podcast, sorry, and Surya Kumar Yadav. I think Cameron Green being called up from because of Inglis's injury on the golf course. I think when he gets his opportunity, I'd like to see how he goes with that extra pressure of the World Cup. That's one to look out. Tymel Mills coming in for England in those death overs. He's another player that I'm really eager to watch. Butler Can he stand up to the pressure of a World Cup tournament and deliver what he's been doing over the last couple of months? And also Alex Hales getting his opportunity. I think he's just dropped off a little bit at the moment. He needs to step up and keep the momentum what he had when he first came back into this English team. They are the players that I am looking forward to in this tournament. Actually, there could be another couple in there. I'm also looking at Karthik from India, the way, and Hardik Pandya, the way that they finish off an innings with their power plays and finesse. Those two I'm really interested in watching. And finally, from Pakistan, Shadib Khan with his leg spin. I really want to see how he goes in Australian conditions. I just think he might be a little bit of a weak link here for Pakistan in those middle overs. He's got to find a way to get a little bit of extra bounce and hit a good length more consistently. And when you're talking about that, Santner and Mitchell from New Zealand. Left arm off spin tour. He's very effective on the economy rate, but he's got to get more wickets on that particular column. And Mitchell in those middle overs, I just want to see him really dominate. If he dominates, he gives New Zealand a huge chance of victory in this World Cup. So they're the players I'm looking out for. There's a lot there. But I hope that's short and sharp. Good question there, Sports Talk Gully. Herbert A, how you going, Herbs? Good day, Hoggy. As an Englishman, I feel we have a good chance of winning the World Cup T20. I do too. I think top league going is a huge loss in one aspect, but I think Sam Curran and Willie can do the job with a new ball in the power play overs. And I think Tymel Mills coming in gives you better balance in the death overs. So I think you've got a better balanced team right now, and you can use Willie and Sam Curran to add for better batting depth. So then you can continue that play that you have in the batting area where you're trying to get 8.5 and over plus every game. You've got the highest strike rate going around in all T20 internationals around the globe. You're the most attacking team. Now you've just got better bowling depth. I just think that strengthens you up, and you're going to be very hard to beat. England, for me, are the favourites of this tournament. Next question, please, Shubs. Kabir, how are you going? I would like to know your opinion about gathering singles and lots of double in huge Australian grounds. Would be a key factor for maintaining flow of the innings, as boundary hitting and 80-metre side very tough. Look, you've got to turn those ones into twos. That's very important on these big boundaries. And if you do that, you put extra pressure on the bowler when he's looking for that Yorker, and he's already had 6 off the first 3 balls, and he's trying to look for that Yorker. That extra pressure just gives him a little bit of shakiness where he doesn't execute it as well as he should. And that's where batsmen can capitalise on. And when you're playing on the grounds like Brisbane and Optus Stadium, you can really use the pace of those loose deliveries. You don't have to overhit it because you've got the quick outfields, and you can beat the deep men as well if you get it in the gaps. The MCG is a different kettle of fish. It's a slower outfield, and that's where you've really got to make sure you're running harder. And it can really take the energy out of teams when they're in the field and they're trying to stop those twos from happening. It just wears them down, wears the bowlers down. And if you can win that battle of more twos than the opposition, you're more likely to win more games here in Australia, especially on the venues of Brisbane, Optus Stadium and the MCG. Good question there, Kabir. And good observation as well. I like that. Shrew Gamadi, how are you going, Shrew? Hi, Hoggy. I think India should play fearless cricket. Yes, I think they should too. The only issue that I have with India at the present moment is their 3 players out the top of the list, quality players, but I just think one of them's got to be a little bit more assertive in the power play, be a little bit more aggressive, take a few more risks. And hopefully you get a higher score in that power play, relieve a little bit of pressure in the middle order. And when you take that pressure off the middle order, they'll come out and explode more, and you'll turn a 170 score into a 190 score. And I think most tallies around here on Australian grounds, you've got to be up there 180, 190 to be secure of a win if you bat first. Good point there, Shrew. I like that. Fearless cricket. I think that, going back to Shrew's point there. Sorry, Shubs. Shrew's point there. The fearless cricket's not so much in the middle order; it's more out the top three from what I see. That's a very good observation, Shrew. Next question, please, Shubs. We got Ramesh Dakarapu. I hope I said that right. Hi, Hoggy. Which teams will qualify for the semis? Which is your what is your opinion on this? My team for the semis: England, Pakistan, England, and India. They're my teams for this particular tournament. Have I got that right? Yes. They're my teams for this tournament. Ramesh, very good question. And I think England and Australia final. But I could be proven wrong. I was proven wrong when we had the T20 tournament in the UAE. I said Australia weren't even going to make the top four, weren't even going to be in the finals, and they got there. Gitamaya, Samal, how you going? How India can improve their depth over bowling. How can India improve their depth bowling? Look, I think at the end of the day, it's change of pace, and this is where you've got a bit of a problem, because Shami did well in that warm-up game with that final over in the warm-up game against Australia. I think Rohit Sharma was just trying to find him, or trying to get him to have some confidence in that final phase of the game. He's looking for him to bowl those death overs, because when he gets a little bit of reverse swing, he's dynamite, especially with his extra pace, but he just needs that confidence. And hopefully that confidence will go into the T20 World Cup main phase of the tournament. If he doesn't fire, India are in trouble in those death overs, because then it adds extra pressure on the other two bowlers, Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Asdeep Singh, who hasn't had much experience in the international level. And if they're put under pressure, then opposition teams can really capitalise. So would you go Harsha Patel in those final overs as well with his slower deliveries, knowing that you've got big square boundaries? You could do, but the ball does sail here in Australia, and sometimes that's not quite as effective. So for me, Shami's got to be on song for India in those death overs to take the pressure off the other bowlers. And if he can get a little bit of reverse swing, he's going to be dynamite. So Shami's execution is key in the death for India. That's how I see them improving. It's a big loss, Boomerang. Shami being left out of the original squad, now getting another opportunity. I just think that's going to lift another cog for him. He realises that he's coming to the end of his tether in the international game, and he's not certain of a spot in the 11. Now he's got to reprove himself, and I think he's going to step up to the mark, and I think he will deliver in those death over scenarios. Good question there, Samal. Next question, please, Shubs. Atal Baral, what can stop England from winning this T20 World Cup? Quality leg spin can definitely slow them down. They're not very good against leg spin, and also not allowing them to take wickets in the power play with their swing bowlers. If you don't allow them to get wickets in that power play, then you can really take them on in the middle overs, because their spin hasn't been quite as dominant over the last year. So you can really capitalise there. And sometimes their death overs haven't been of high quality as well. So Tymon Mills coming in will strengthen that, but he's under pressure to deliver as well. So for me, it's about keeping wickets in the power play when you're batting. But when you're bowling against England in the power play, don't be over aggressive, because Butler's the key here. If you bowl on a good length, hitting the top of off, his average is only 15 in the power play. But if you're looking for Yorkers, looking for the short ball, his average explodes. So it's just good test length bowling to Butler in the power play. That's what can stop England. Good question there. Atel Baral. Damon Gazzetta. Expect any upsets with Netherlands taking part in the Super 12s? No, I don't expect any upsets from the Netherlands in the Super 12s. I think they've done really well to get to this particular phase. I just think they don't have enough batting depth to be able to hold themselves against the test playing nations. So I think the Netherlands have done well. It's been exciting for them, and I think they're going to gain a lot of experience playing at a new level that they haven't been exposed to for over their cricket history. So the Netherlands are in a good spot for development. But thanks very much for joining us today, guys. And just talking about upsets, I think England will win this tournament, but I think the first game that England play against Afghanistan, I think that could be an upset. If Afghanistan bat first, get about 150 on the board, able to keep the run rate down till Rashid Khan comes into about the 10th over, I think Afghanistan are in for a chance to upset England in that first game. But it's going to be a tough call and a tough ask from Afghanistan. Thanks very much for joining us today, guys. Enjoy the T20 World Cup, and I'll be doing some lives through this particular tournament, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to be doing more lives for the up-and-coming months as well. Thanks very much for following me, and thanks very much for enjoying the game of cricket. Love you all.